Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. We hope you're doing great. Today we're talking about a story that's been making waves, the case of Tommy Robinson, the well-known far-right activist who's been sentenced to 18 months in prison. He was found in contempt of court after repeating false allegations against a Syrian refugee, even after a high court had issued an injunction against him. Yeah, it's a pretty intense case, so let's break it down together. So, Robinson, whose real name is actually Stephen Yaxley-Lennon, was called out by the judge for his actions, and it was pretty clear the court wasn't going to let this slide. The judge emphasized that nobody is above the law. That's a really strong statement, right? The judge was pointing out that Robinson's actions weren't just careless, they were very deliberate, done in a way that would grab the maximum amount of attention possible. His claims reached millions of people, so you can imagine the impact. Alright, so what exactly did Robinson do? Well, let's go back to 2021, when this whole situation first unfolded. Robinson had actually lost a libel case brought by Jamal Hijazi, a young Syrian refugee who'd been filmed in a disturbing video showing him being attacked at a school in West Yorkshire. Instead of keeping quiet, Robinson went on Facebook and accused Hijazi of something terrible. He said Hijazi wasn't actually innocent and that he was violent toward English girls at school, and that accusation, completely false, according to the court. So, yeah, Robinson's statements really stirred things up, especially since he kept sharing this narrative across multiple platforms. It wasn't just a one-time thing either. And he appeared in interviews with various figures, including Gareth Icke, if you don't know, is the son of David Icke, a pretty controversial conspiracy theorist. Robinson even made a film called Silenced, which he used to push these false claims even further. This film was shared on different online platforms, including some that, well, let's say have questionable reputations. Figures like Andrew Tate were sharing it too, so this really expanded its reach. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. Silenced wasn't just a casual video, it was a full-length film running about 90 minutes, and according to Aidan Eardley KC, who represented the Solicitor General, it focused entirely on Robinson's story about Hijazi. It's honestly hard to imagine the resources and planning that must have gone into producing this. Robinson even screened it at a rally he organized at Trafalgar Square in London. This wasn't just any rally either, it was a gathering of his supporters, and the film was shown on big screens there, amplifying the whole narrative even further. So given all of this, the Solicitor General Sarah Sackman made it clear that Robinson's actions were a serious breach of court orders. The court wanted to ensure that people understand the consequences of disregarding these legal boundaries. The judge emphasized that Robinson's contempt for the court was a significant violation, one that couldn't go unpunished if the law was to be upheld. I mean, wow, it really goes to show how serious the court was about protecting the rule of law, right? Yeah, this isn't just about one person's political views or what they believe, it's about holding everyone to the same standards under the law. Robinson had openly disobeyed a court order, and the judge wanted to make it clear that nobody, regardless of who they are, is allowed to undermine the law. Ishim, but you might be wondering, did Robinson actually admit to the allegations? Well, yes, he did. At the start of the hearing, Robinson acknowledged that he'd committed these breaches. It seemed like he was finally accepting some responsibility, at least in a legal sense. But the judge still expressed concern because Robinson had shown no signs of remorse and didn't seem open to rehabilitation. In fact, the judge said Robinson's behavior suggested he believed he was above the law, and that's not something the justice system can overlook. Still, there was one small condition for a reduced sentence. The judge mentioned that Robinson could get his sentence reduced by about 4 months if he removed all the false claims from his social media accounts. So in a way, it's like giving him a choice. If he decides to take down these damaging posts, he could potentially serve less time, but it's unclear if Robinson's willing to do that. On top of the jail sentence, Robinson was also ordered to pay over PS 80,000 in court costs. That's a pretty hefty sum, and it adds to the overall impact of the sentence. I guess the judge wanted to make it clear that not only will Robinson face jail time, but he'll also have to bear the financial burden for his actions. Oh, and there's more. A member of parliament from the Reform UK party, Rupert Lowe, actually tweeted about this case. He expressed concern for Robinson's safety in prison, even saying he'd be raising these concerns with the Ministry of Justice. So yeah, there are definitely people out there who have mixed feelings about this case. Some might feel Robinson's being treated too harshly, while others believe this is just justice being served. The anti-racism campaign group Hope Not Hate also weighed in on the verdict. They had initially put together a dossier documenting Robinson's repeated breaches of the injunction. And for them, this sentence was a victory, a step toward justice for Jamal Hijazi, the young man who was wronged in this whole ordeal. They said Robinson's actions finally had consequences, and they saw it as a win in their fight against hate and misinformation. Okay, so what do you think about all this? There's a lot to unpack, and it brings up some big questions about freedom of speech, the rule of law, and the power of social media. Robinson's story is controversial, no doubt, and it stirs up strong emotions on both sides. But at the end of the day, the court's message is clear: if you openly defy the law, there are going to be serious consequences. So yeah, it's definitely food for thought. Alright friends, that's it for today's deep dive. Thanks for sticking with us, and let us know in the comments what you think. Should Robinson have received a lighter sentence, or was this the right call? We'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to stay updated on stories like this. Until next time, take care and stay informed.